YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger episode 25. So this was actually a really fun episode, I thought. Not like the best thing ever, mind you, but it was one of the most clever and fun ideas for a clip show episode, because it was a pseudo clip show episode. And the premise was, we run into this monster that they think is a recycled, like, showdown or high noon day or whatever, but it's a sundial monster that turns back time. And he turns back time to the very beginning of the series, effectively in order to prevent the Zenkaigers from ever becoming the Zenkaigers, and then throughout the episode, sort of stop them at various points that have happened through the series. And we start with Kaito does remember everything, and he's like, what the heck's going on? Nobody remembers anything, and he's like, oh man, I'm in the pilot. I'm like Pilot Trini. And then after that, he's like, okay, well, fine, I'll just become a Zenkaiger again. I know where the morphers are, I'll just recruit everyone. And so he goes and gets the morpher, and then we find out that eventually time's going to catch up with his memory, and it does, and he forgets everything. But thankfully, he was already positioning himself to where he was in the pilot, which is running down the street with a morpher. He runs into Juran, and all the events proceed as normal. So the clips effectively recap everything, like how the team was formed, the mecha debuts, Stacy's debut, Two Kaisers' debut, and, you know, after the sundial monster fails at the beginning, you watch him throughout the episode trying at various points to convince the Toji Gento he's from the future and that they have to stop the Zenkaigers right now at these key junction points because they're going to become a problem later. And none of the generals believe him. And he goes to Stacy too, and every time he goes to one of them, they basically take him down. And it's funny too, and it kind of plays into a theme at the end. And he has not Navi with him throughout the whole episode because he takes him with him. And he's kind of trying to prevent everything throughout the episode. And so it was a funny concept, because of course you have the clip show stuff, but it was a really nice device for it. And it actually also made for a low-key smart villain plan, but it was a good device for the clip show, and it made for a funny premise of, like, them winding up repeating the same history anyway, and him trying to convince everybody, and it just not working out. And when they end up back in present day, like we go throughout the whole timeline, from episode 1 to 25 again, and when they get to the fight now, this time the Rangers are prepared for him. And he's like, what the heck? You guys don't just know who I am? And it turns out, all throughout the rehistory, not Navi was calling the Rangers and warning them about what he's doing and telling them so that they were going to be prepared to see him this time. So he wound up defeating himself the long way around. And then they say we're going to use the gear that not Navi told us about. It's the G-Ranger gear. It's meta, get it? Because, like, Power Rangers always likes to go back to the past and just use MMPR. So they use the MMPR one. And they do kind of the cool, like, cheerleading finish G-Ranger thing and take out the monster. And then it's funny because they were like, oh, we're going to make the monster grow. It's like, no, we're not going to do that. We literally just lost twice in 2 timelines. No time for that. And at the end, they're all just kind of celebrating together and celebrating Not Navi for his work in preventing the timeline from being messed up and sort of reflecting on their bonds as characters. And they did bring it back to this nice note about the fact that, like, none of the Toji Gento believed each other all throughout the new timeline, but he was able to contact the Zenkaigers, and they instantly believed him, and that wound up being what gave them victory. So I thought that was kind of a nice parallel to draw for a funny episode. It was just overall a nice episode. Like, it wasn't anything spectacular. I didn't even realize it was a clip show at first, but then it was obviously a clip show. But it was one of those clip shows that has a really entertaining plot device that wound up being kind of an interesting filler premise all on its own. And it had some really funny moments to it, and I like that they kind of tied it to the differences between the heroes and the villains in regards to their approach. And it was just a lot of fun, and I have to commend them for coming up with a clever premise for a filler episode. I would give it a 4 out of 5. Honestly, that's unusual for a high score for a clip show, but yeah, they did a good job. Next week looks like to be yet another return of Stacy, but a brainwashed version. Before, he was giving me Elan vibes, but this episode's giving me Kamen Rider Chase vibes. And we're getting a recolor of the mecha, so hello Premium Bandai, here we come. But it looks like it's going to actually be pretty good. I thought this episode was going to be dumb based on the preview and wound up being entertaining, but even though we might be doing a 3-peat with Stacy, it looks like it'll be pretty good next week. But I get a feeling we're not too far from him joining the team. But what did you guys think of this clip show? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.